Telor is that of a cycle. The world of Arnuin is born and reborn eternally, and the ways of Magick are no different. The force known as Arcanum, the font of all magical energies and supernatural power, ebbs and flows. Its influence over the material world waxes and wanes in cycles of a millennium or so. In times of plentiful magic and arcanum, the world is ripe with great monsters, powerful warlocks and wizards, nearly godlike beings, and events and battles which rival true myth. Times of waning and of lesser supernatural and magic power are times of steel, fire, and axe, when the way to get something done is through hard labor. Wars are fought with metal rather than runes, and the lords of kingdoms and empires are not great sages of the arcane arts, but rather mortal men versed in politics and diplomacy. The current world is that of a waning period. Modern Telor is in the central half of a time of lesser magics, where mythical creatures such as dragons and giants have either vanished or been pushed to the fringes of civilization. However, it is also theorized by scholars and theologians that magic is on a continuous waning, that the greatest times of power and arcane events was the epochs of the Nayar and the gods, and that when mortality's time came, Arcanum also faltered and retreated, with occasional periods of greater magics and powers, such as the War of Ironblood, 1300 years ago. Now let's discuss what magic actually is and its inner workings. Arcanum is a fundamental facet of the universe, called Ea. It is the dark matter of Ea, a strange and primeval force which binds together galaxies and flows through all matter of the universe. Arcanum does not interact with normal matter, that of planets, stars, nebulae, Earth, and all other things seen by mortals. It passes through it, unnoticed and oblivious to the workings of the material world, as all normal matter is called by scholars of the arcane. However, complex nervous systems found in living things can interact with Arcanum. The electrical signals and pulses of the nervous system knits and bends Arcanum, usually unnoticeable to mortals, as normal passive thinking only has a tiny and unnoticeable effect on Arcanum. Deeper thinking, usually induced by herbs and other substances, can create greater effects, called shamanism and seering by mortals, though these arcane effects are only felt within the mind of the one doing the thinking. This is seen as prophecies and communing with spirits and gods. More active use of magic, such as runes or the alchemy-esque thaumaturgy, requires active intent and use of arcanum, where the user is fully conscious and aware of their actions. This is done by overcoming the boundaries of simple thinking, which has little magical effect. True spells are woven by commanding the arcanum. To use arcanum to change reality, called magic, true belief in one's actions are required. Every fibre of the user's being must be in total agreement on the spells being manifested, primarily the mind, the nervous system. This belief comes from how one's culture views magic. If someone has been taught that magic is done with incantations and wands, they will fully believe that they need those things to do magic, and so only with incantations and wands will the right electrical pulses synchronize in the nervous system, producing a spell. The vast majority of magic in Telor is based on runes. It is common belief that magic requires runes, and so runes are needed for belief and total agreement of the body, mind, and spirit to occur, which finally creates magic. A question all new magicker apprentices and young spell workers have is that of, why don't we just learn all the runes and do whatever the hell we want, break cities, level mountains, whatever. This is usually followed by a strict beratement by their master, and then the explanation of a terrible affliction, the scourge. It is likely one of the worst ways a mortal can perish, at least by their own hands, for arcanum is like radiation. It eats away at the cellular structure, and prolonged exposure destroys DNA by tearing it apart and practically unzipping it. This is seen upon mortals as deep, third-degree burns, scarring and withering of the flesh. Skin rots and withers while they still live, and in their mind they are slowly losing themselves. For the scourge, as this terrible disease is called, also afflicts the thoughts of its victims. In terms of the process of the scourge, at first it is simple confusion, dizziness, and fatigue. Then spectral apparitions and disembodied voices of the dead whisper into their ear, and an incessant itchiness plagues the entire body. Then scars appear, skin peels back, and fire swallows the flesh beneath. Their form contorts, body and mind are devolving, breaking, and conforming beyond their limits. Soon, burns snake their way across the body, and cancerous black tumors cover limbs and organs. Eventually, in the end, they die a gibbering, insane mockery of their former selves. However, this is rare for such an affliction to get into its later stages. For the vast majority of learned magickers, they know the risks of overusing their magic, and thus do not overdo, in excess, or push their arcane limits. Albeit, all magickers die relatively young, in their 50s at best, and if they actively restrain their power, they might get to early 60s. Thus, magickers are bound and enraptured within the influence of the scourge, and they can never truly realize their power's greatest potential. The scourge is feared. It is the plague upon life which Arcanum, such a useful resource, brings about, and it is the very thing that stops magickers from truly changing the status quo, toppling kingdoms, starting and ending wars, and the conquering of entire nations with the wave of their hand. Runic magic was first taught by the giants some 2,000 years ago, and it is said that all other arcane schools diverge from their teachings. Here is a quick overview of the major schools of magic. The school of light magic is that which is taught by the giants and is the first form. It is the way which the giants learned, according to myth, from the sun and the moon, and it is concerned with conjuration and evocation. It is a school of casting rays of light and auroras, of storms, lightning, and earthquakes. In its teachings, magic is a divine gift created from Torque's heart as a tool for mortals and gods to use in their pursuits. Practitioners of light magics are often clerics, paladins, or templars of holy orders. The School of Fire is a blasphemous heretic school which has become common amongst the race of men and all their kingdoms. It was founded by a king of the Hish, an eastern culture of the shores of Haldrimar, the other continent. It concerns with the inferno and destruction of purpose and ambition. It is the magic of ash and blazing torrents of flame. Yet it is also the magic of temperatures, cooling and heating substances and airs to the magicker's will. In their ideology, the ways of the giants taught as light magic were chains meant to bind humanity to the stone giants' command, and thus they must break away and form their own schools. This was due to the dominion of the stone giants after they taught man and the dwarves advanced metallurgy and magic, so that all knowledge of medicines, geography, and astronomy came from them. This Hish king's rebellions were soon the kindling for a war against the giants and their devout followers, triggering the War of Iron Blood. The School of Earthen Magic is a school of enchantment and forging. Slowly, over many countless years, the dwarves subtly tweaked and changed light magic to suit their needs, until after many centuries, a new school of magic which still adhered to the ways of the giants was born, Earthen Magic. This is unique, as it takes a spell or desired effect and binds it to an object, which is known as enchantment. Never rusting, eternal sharpness, and legendary endurance and power were common enchantments at the heights of Earthen Magic. However, It is a costly and long process to enchant a weapon or other item, and the exact ways of doing so is a fiercely kept secret amongst the dwarven artificers and magicker smiths. The School of Stars is the youngest of the magicker schools, being only a handful of centuries old. It is concerned with omens and prophecies, of reading the thoughts of others and even dominating the minds of other mortals. This school was founded by Iridaean scholars and astronomers, who saw that the stars repeated in regular cycles as old folk do, and thought there was power and magic within them. Fate and destiny could be foreseen by seers and the great users of star magic, and thus through many years of mathematical calculations and studies the school was born. It was used by Iridaean kings as a way of predicting battles, though since star magickers only see symbolism and faint glimpses of possible futures, it proved fairly useless. Nowadays, the court astronomers and theologians of many courts of managed lands and baronies are often practitioners of star magic, and the more experienced individuals even pierce the mind of political opponents, though this is a costly and rare skill, likely to bring back scourge, and even then, it is impossible to decipher the complex brains of sapient beings and to find the desired thoughts among many millions. The School of Stars is the youngest of the magicker schools, being only a handful of centuries old. It is concerned with omens and prophecies, of reading the thoughts of others and even dominating the minds of other mortals. This school was founded by Iridaean scholars and astronomers, who saw that the stars repeated in regular cycles as old folk do, and thought there was power and magic within them. Fate and destiny could be foreseen by seers and the great users of star magic, and thus through many years of mathematical calculations and studies the school was born. It was used by Iridaean kings as a way of predicting battles, though since star magickers only see symbolism and faint glimpses of possible futures, it proved fairly useless. Nowadays, the court astronomers and theologians of many courts of managed lands and baronies are often practitioners of star magic, and the more experienced individuals even pierce the mind of political opponents, though this is a costly and rare skill, likely to bring back scourge, and even then, it is impossible to decipher the complex brains of sapient beings and to find the desired thoughts among many millions. These are the essentials needed to know for further magical studies, which venture into the realms of great runes, Sayar Din, and magical inscriptions. So, that's another one done. I'd also like to thank everyone for the support I've been getting the past few months. It's been crazy to see the channel grow like this in 4 months since I released my first video, and that first one is nearly getting 1,000 views, which is an insane number. I can't wrap my head around that, and we're just about to hit 100 subscribers. So I'd really like to thank everyone for all the support. It's been amazing. Thanks.